Greg, obviously off days for players or anything but that for coaches. So what concerns and compliments did you unearth on video yesterday?
Yeah, looking back at it, really happy with our consistent effort with the group, just in terms of our energy. Really liked our sustained puck pressure up ice. Thought there was often times we were able to get them to turn back towards their net or make it difficult for them to come through pressure. We were able to create some opportunities off of that puck pressure, especially at the forward check. We'll have to be mindful with their attack up ice. Their D really get active, so another important area for us to track and reload to make sure we have numbers above.
Were you happy with the suspension that the league handed out to Jonathan Kovacevic over the cross-check to Joey Duszak?
I wouldn't say happy. I'm glad that there's a process in place with the league with penalties and items like that. And it's important that our players are protected and have a due process within stuff.
Next question goes to Joshua Cloak. Go ahead, Joshua.
As you've watched Andrew D'Agostini kind of come up and you're obviously aware of his journey to the AHL, what kind of stands out to you about him and that journey and how he's kind of been able to stay focused through 8 years of kind of the ECHL to get to where he is, having won, his first 2 games in the AHL? Yeah,
I was checking in with him at breakfast this morning and has a big smile on his face. He's loving every minute of this opportunity and he's taking advantage of it. He's talked a little bit about his long road and the adversity he's gone through, and anytime somebody has had bumps in the road and keeps fighting and keeps competing and gets opportunities like this and take advantage of it, your heart goes out to a guy like that, and the team's really rallied behind him.
Yeah, I guess that's my follow-up. What do you think some of your young players especially can learn from a guy like him who really has not given up on his dream to play in the NHL at all?
Yeah, it's tough sometimes to have perspective as a young player with what your opportunities are in the moment and picturing what life is like a couple of years down the road and what's going to transpire. But it's an opportunity for the young players to recognize that dreams are never over, and if you just stay with the process and keep pushing and keep working, anything can happen.
Next question goes to Lucas Weiss. Go ahead, Lucas.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for doing this. How important is it for your guys to keep your emotions and discipline in check, particularly facing the same team 3 or 4 times in a row?
Yeah, it's really important. We talked this morning about never getting too high or too low. We may start out 2-0, but those games are behind us now. It's a 4-game series. We want to make sure that we come out strong and have a good start tonight. It's a clean slate, and the expectations are there that we continue to get better with every period.
Next question goes to Lance Hornby. Go ahead, Lance. Lance, I think you're on mute. All right, we'll come back to you, Lance. Next question goes to Nick Barden. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Greg. 2 games in a row against Manitoba Moose. How do you prepare? Do you prepare differently for the third one?
In series like this, there isn't a lot of change. There's some D-zone face-off stuff we had to work through and talk about this morning. They're starting to make some adjustments in different areas that we're keen on, but there hasn't been a ton of changes. So it's more or less reiterating our message, our habits, our details, and sticking with our game plan and focusing on ourselves.
Next question goes to Jacob Stoller. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, Greg. Given the way that the circumstances have played out this year, are you taking a different approach in terms of, say, checking the standings or keeping with other teams, considering that it's really, in the truest sense about developing your own players?
I wouldn't say there's too much difference. Every game you want to be competitive. You want to have a process in place. You want to demand a lot from your team and your players. Expectations of doing things the right way all the time, regardless of standings and wins and losses, and the idea that you have those things in place and you keep pushing each other every day, the results will take care of themselves. So for me personally, and hopefully our group's mindset is it's another day, regardless of the season or the situation. And we're grateful for being able to do what we do and play hockey. And we're going to continue to get better.
Thanks.
Next question goes to Nick Barden. Go ahead, Nick.
Greg, Andrew D'Agostini in 2 games has been phenomenal. What do you think for him to stay as the starter? What does he have to do to just keep playing well?
Play the same way he did in game 1 and game 2. His work ethic, his compete. He has a real knack for anticipating the next play. And he had even mentioned, appreciating the talent and the ability that's in front of him when I was talking to him this morning, and how the team in front of him, compared to past levels he's played at, it's a little bit more predictable for him to read off of. And I do think he has a pretty high hockey IQ in that sense as a goalie.
And last question is to Mike Schulman. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Greg. Just wanted to ask you about Timothy Liljegren. He's coming off a great year in the AHL last season. Do you feel he's ready to play in the NHL? And what was communicated to you from Kyle Dubas and the Leafs brass in terms of what they'd like to see him work on when he's with you in the AHL and to solidify a role with the big club?
Yeah, anytime there's a guy like that that's had some time in the NHL, comes back to the American League, really the message for any player in that situation is to continue to build consistency within what they're doing, especially defensively and in different situations, and then continue to push the envelope and develop offensively and not lose those puck touches and continue to gain another level in that area, so that the confidence continues to get higher and higher, so that when he gets back and has an opportunity, hopefully he's gotten specific reps to put himself in a better spot. But we're really happy with how he's doing so far. He's created a lot for us in these first couple games, and also has been strong and consistent defensively.